In the following clip, you're going to look at is how I built a power distribution panel to put on my power pole up on our RV site up in northern Wisconsin. This is something I've had a lot of experience with. I don't recommend you doing it if you don't know anything about electronics or electricity. You can get somebody to help you. This just shows you a basic idea of how I did it, and still I will have mine inspected before I put it on the pole up there. But take a look at it, see what you think. I want to show you what I'm going to have to do to correct or replace the power boxes and all that on our power pole up in our RV campsite up in northern Wisconsin. The stuff that's on there now I put in there a long time ago, many years ago. So I've got to put a new power box in it, and that's going to be the distribution box, and in there I'll put these 4 circuit breakers, and then I'll go down to 2 outlet boxes I'm going to put down there, and those are the outdoor receptacle covers. And then these are just 20 amp receptacles I have in there. I have a 30 amp service. I'm going to change them out, and I'll put a couple 30 ampers in there for when I wire the RVs up directly. And then you can see the miscellaneous hardware that I'm going to have to install on it. And of course I got some silicon sealer that I'll put on when I put all these connectors in there. And along with this wire here, you can't really see it, I got it against the black one, but I'll hold that up there and you can see it's a pretty big roll of wire. And it's awful expensive. So anyhow, I'm going to start putting this together, and I'll break in with a little short clip every once in a while and let you see how it's going. Hey, spend a couple hours putting all this together. This is what it looks like, minus the wiring. And what you're looking at is my meter there. I used to make sure I was doing everything right. And there you can see they got the circuit breakers installed, but there's no wiring. These are the outdoor receptacle boxes. You can see one looks like empty. I don't have the receptacles in that one. Sorry about moving this thing all the way around. This one down here shows you how they are after you get the receptacles installed. Now I have to take them out and put the wiring on. And then a few of the other little minor things right there. But this is how it looks like. And we'll go get some wire and we'll start putting that together. As you can see, I've started my wiring there. And I just got the one receptacle wired up so far. And I feed it up to that box and to this one here. And you can see the white wire is hooked on to that bar there. That's the neutral bar. And then the black wire goes up to the circuit breakers. And it's a little hard to see in there, but this is number 1. So that's actually circuit number 2. The circuit breakers are going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, top to bottom in the box. And as I go down here, this will be 1, 3, 2, and 4. And I just do it that way to make it easier so that I can shut off any breaker that I want and just put one at a time, and I don't have to worry, I'll still have all the other outlets. So each one of the receptacles here, each one of these will feed off one of those breakers. And then I'll put these covers on it. Sorry, I'm not very good at this camera work right now, but anyhow, so I'm going to finish it up. And the only wire I could find was this wire in the sheathing. Because of the close spots, I want to take the sheathing off of it and just run it each one at a time. So that should work all right. So when I get it all done before I box it up, I'll show you how we're doing. Yeah, I'll show you how we do the sheathing here. This is what it looks like. You get the wires, there's 3 wires in there. There's a black, which is the power, a white is the neutral, and the bare one there is the ground. So that's what I'm doing. But there's a simple way of doing this, if I can find my knife, of getting, there it is, in order to get the sheathing off. It's a very simple way. All you gotta do, take your knife in there like that. You gotta be real careful though, and just slide it up. If you've got a sharp knife, it'll come right up. You get it started, okay? You get it started, and then you can take this and you can just pull that off. It comes right off like that there. Then just grab it, and whoop, my finger gets locked up. And then what you gotta do is, it's not this hard normally, okay? But, and you just pull it right down off like that there. And now you've got this piece, you can throw it away. And you'll notice that there's paper on here. Well, you can just pull all that paper right on off of there. And it should just slide right out of there, just like that, okay? Then you just pull that paper right off, throw that away, you don't need that. And then the ground wire will have paper on it, just peel that off like that, and you can throw that away. So now you got 3 pieces of wire that you can manipulate and get through the small target. One other thing you can do, you need to strip back these. I just use a little old knife like this here is all I use. And I just take, you gotta be real careful, but your knife's gotta be sharp. You just go back and you peel it off like this here. And you just make sure you don't puncture your finger. Okay? And you do that, and then you just peel back this little bit of it right there. Just like that. And I'll show you a little closer on that. It's just how it looks like that. Then I'll line it up with the camera. And then we'll take, well, I tell you, I can't find my tools. Here they are. There it is. Okay. And then you got that little bit of a thing on there. And then you'll just cut that right off. And now you got a stripped wire ready to go in. Now how these go in, you can put these 2 different ways. You can see I got the ground wire on there. But these little holes, there's a little hole right there on the side. You can take and just take your wire and you just stick it right in that hole like that. Now I got to loosen it up a little bit because the screw's too tight. And you loosen it up, you shove it under there, you tighten the screw back up, and now you got a good connection. Or you can wrap it around the thread up here. And the gold side will be the hot with 115. The white screws will be the neutral, and of course the green of them is going to be the ground. So make sure you hook them all up right, and it should be good. So we'll continue wiring. Alright, I'm going to show you how I feed this wire through there. As you can see right here, I've got the 2 wires. I hooked them up like I showed you in the previous one to go into the back like that. Okay, now I'm going to have to hook this ground on, but before I do this ground right here. But before I hook the ground on, I'm going to feed these things through here. And what you want to make sure is that when you install them, they're sitting like this here, so that the ground plug is on the bottom. Okay, you always want to have the ground plug on the bottom. So they're going to go in the box like this. But now I'm going to bring these wires up like this here. We're going to feed just these 2 through there. So, man, it's a little tricky, but you got to get them through there, because they'll catch up on them. And the seams in there. Okay, you don't want to get them too twisted up. As you see, they're going through the other one here. And we'll get those 2 and get them up there so they don't wrap each other around. And you just feed them in like that there, okay? And just keep going on, and then they'll come out in to the main power box up here, okay? And we should be able to see them. Let's see, yeah. Okay, there are these 2 right here. You're going to pull them out. And now when I get down to the other end, I'll hook up. I'll hook up and finish the wiring down here with this receptacle here. I'll hook up the ground. I'll make sure that I have the ground from the plug. Then it goes down to the box, so the box is grounded. And that'll do the same thing here. I'll put the ground. I'll connect the ground down here. When you see it down in here, then it'll come up onto this receptacle. And then the receptacle will go up, and then I will stick that. All those grounds will be put in, and it'll be hooked into this ground right here. You can't really see it in there, but there's a ground on the back, and we'll get that all hooked up in there. So, all right, we'll take it from there. Okay, here's what this one looks like. Now, I haven't got that one down, but you see the wires going on up through, and I got to connect these two ground wires yet. But I've got the two neutral wires in there. I've got the two circuit breakers hooked up with the black wires. And I did take my meter and I made sure that this one here, which is the number 2 breaker, that feeds down here to this number 2, the number 2 socket. And the other one is the number 4, that's the number 4 one, that feeds down here. And it goes into this number 4 one here, okay? Now, I wanted a separate break for each one of these, so I'll do the same thing up with this box. This will be 1 and this will be 3. And then I'll hook them all up. And when I get done, I use my meter to check all this continuity and make sure there was no shorts and they were going where they're supposed to. When I get all done, I'll do a power check on it. I'll hook in some power and I'll show you how we do that stuff. And I do want to caution you, if you're not familiar with electronics and electricity, and you haven't any experience, so you should get help before you try doing this if you don't understand. This can be very dangerous if you do it wrong. So anyhow, we're going to finish this thing up and then I'll do the power check. Alright, I thought I was going to finish this up here, but I forgot to get a ground lug. So all of these ground wires you hear right here, I'm going to have to go up to our hardware store and I'll have to get a grounding lug. But otherwise, you can see I got all the wires, I got all the circuits wired in there. There's the neutral. I checked it all out. This is going to be receptacle 1, which corresponds to this breaker right here. This is receptacle 3, this one here, and that'll be for the 3rd one here. Down here, that's 2, and that'll correspond to 2 up there, and this is 4. And I ohmed it all out so it all works, except I'm not going to go up to the hardware store today. It's still below 0 outside, so I'm just going to pack up my stuff for right now. And but that's what it's going to look like when it gets all said and done. I'll mount that on the pole like that. So I get a grounding lug and an extension cord. I'll check it all out and make sure that the power goes where it's supposed to go. It all ohms out correctly, a continuity check, so it should be good to go. Okay, here is the finished product. And you can see with the cover open. Okay, there's the circuit breakers I've got, and you can see I got them labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and the wires come down through that tubing there. Here's the first set of breakers. I have these 1 and 3 because these two are separate lines, but they're of the same phase coming into the box. There will be 2 phases coming into the box. You come down here, and these 2 are labeled 2 and 4 because they'll be on the other phase. This way, with the 4 circuit breakers, the 2 phases, I can control each receptacle. And this is how they look like inside there. And I'll be putting this on the power pole on this piece of plywood you got in the back, but I'll have to wait till weather warms up so I can stain it. But this is what it looks like. It's all complete. And come weather warms up north, I will put this on the power pole and replace the one I have up there, and I'll be ready to go. And then this cover just shuts down like that, and if I want, I can put a little lock on there too. So that's what it looks like, and I'll finish this up when I get up north and put it on the panel. So there it is. Just going to add a note here. In the one video clip you saw, I had some black tubing. Well, that turned out to be a little bit too heavy of cable or wire that I needed. I didn't need it quite that big, so I went down to 1 gauge. I went from a 10 down to a 12 gauge because I'm only going to run 20 amps out of this thing. So you'll see a yellow wire instead of the black I showed you previously, and that's the only reason. The 10 was too hard to put in. It would have been a safety hazard. So I decided to go with a 12 gauge, which was a little smaller. Okay, there's where the panel is all put together. I will go up there this spring and I'll have it put on the pole. Again, just caution you if you try to do this, if you don't have the experience, I advise against it. If you know what you're doing, that's fine, but I still have mine inspected and I will check local codes for where I'm putting it to make sure that everything I've done is copacetic. So, thanks for watching. Talk at you folks later.